Sun Devils walked out of the tunnel onto Speaker Field at the Rose Bowl. For most players, it was just a regular game. But for a select few, there was more. It's a new week here in Sun Devil Stadium. Arizona State's coming off a bye. They beat Cal 2 weeks ago, and they're ranked number 18 in the nation. Even though this was Jaden Daniels' first start here in Sun Devil Stadium, he was still able to rack up a number of firsts. His first rushing touchdown, his first passing touchdown, and most importantly, his first victory. After a USC-dominant first half, the Sun Devils showed that they weren't out of it yet. The second half, they came to play. Hurley went to the bench early, and with an unlikely hero, the tone quickly changed for ASU. Now tomorrow they find out whether or not they make it in the tournament in what Gemma Perfield says is a 50-50 shot. It was a tale of two halves for Arizona State women's basketball here tonight in Fort Defiance. First half hot, second half cold, and they would eventually lose to number 4th ranked Baylor. With spring practices culminating here in Sun Devil Stadium with the annual spring football game, the quarterback battle is still up for grabs. And if you ask ASU running back Eno Benjamin, it's still anybody's game. Tyler, we're going to cut right to the chase. ASU, big victory here tonight against Rider. One of the biggest stories of the game was Jalen House off the bench. What did you see from Jalen House tonight that was so special? Well, I'd have to say the biggest takeaway for me is Eno Benjamin. Now, one of the biggest things that fans, let alone the coaches, have been a little bit worried about this year was Eno Benjamin and his efficiency. ASU football is back in action with the first week of spring practice coming to a close. But this year, there's a different feel around the program. The first major shift is a medley of transfers that have taken place over the offseason. The most recent wave came last week when defensive linemen Darius Slade and Jalen Bates, along with wide receiver Terrell Chapman, announced their decision to transfer from the program. Then on Saturday, the action in the Pac begins in the afternoon when Utah takes on Washington State. Stanford, coming off the thrilling overtime victory over Oregon, will have another difficult challenge ahead of them as they travel to Notre Dame. We saw at the beginning of the season he didn't have as great of a season as everyone wanted, but this game we saw he's back. You see there with the stats, 3 touchdowns, 100 yards, 3.4 yards a carry. He played like a warrior last week. He grinded out tough yards, and he showed. He's not gone. He's back, and he's ready to have another big season. I'm going to have to go with Kiana Iabis. She is a threat on both sides of the court, in the post, behind the three-point line. If we take a look at the film right here, if you see down in the post, she is just a very athletic, talented player. And another big thing is she can hit that mid-range jumper, which is really important when she's down in the post. Well, there's a few things Herm's done that I think have stood out all across the country. The first one is he shows a lot of passion. You see it in the press conferences. You see it on the sideline. He's one of the most passionate coaches in all of the NCAA. Diamond to the pitch. A pair of ASU women's soccer players were selected to compete in the U20 World Cup in France. Eva van Dierschen was selected to the Netherlands U20 national team, and Alexa Delgado was named the captain of the Mexican team. He's very smart. He has a great football IQ, obviously. He played college, played in the NFL, and coached in the NFL. He's got that great football IQ. And to finish off the week in the Pac-12 football, we have ASU returning home to Tempe to take on Oregon State. And the Trojans from USC traveled to Tucson to face the Wildcats from the University of Arizona. Oof. And you look at the stats here, they were top of the Pac-12 in most stats. And that gives it a big advantage because they don't have to teach a defense to an entirely new set of people. They have all their people coming back, and they're ready to go. The other major storyline of the spring is the search for a new quarterback, after former quarterback Manny Wilkins finished out his final season. 4 quarterbacks are now fighting to take his place. The leader of the pack is redshirt junior Dylan Sterling Cole, who has been with the team since 2016. He will be competing with 3 freshmen for the starting spot. I think there's 2 areas of concern for Arizona State that they have to fix during this bye week. The first one is one that people have been talking about a lot this season. That is the offensive line. Obviously, they are very unexperienced with a few freshmen on the line. Jaden Daniels last week wasn't as pressured as he had been in the past, but still was pressured a little bit. To get ready for these very tough opponents in the Pac-12, the offensive line has to get better. These quarterbacks include 4-star recruit Jaden Daniels, 3-star recruit Ethan Long, and 4-star recruit Joey Yellen. And a great thing with her being able to move her feet is being able to help her teammates. You see down here Courtney Ekmark coming on a little switch play. Ibis is going to screen Ekmark's defender, and with her being a big target that she is, her defender is going to follow her as well, leaving Ekmark wide open. And then the other thing I want to talk about is the defensive backs. We saw it last week. Chase Lucas, among others, were burnt on a few plays and gave up some touchdowns. That is the biggest area of concern I think they need to fix if they want to compete against these higher-ranked Pac-12 teams.
Great stuff, Jack. Thank you.